Welcome back to Toyota Sports Talk. We are getting you ready for Washington Commanders rookie minicamp starting on Friday in Ashburn. Of course, a lot of attention on new quarterback Jaden Daniels, but also on maybe their new left tackle, Brandon Coleman, played at TCU, joined now by TCU's head coach, Sonny Dykes, knows Brandon very well. Sonny, appreciate you taking the time.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
All right, Brandon Coleman, what can you tell me? What is Washington getting?
Yeah, really athletic young man. I think his best football is still in front of him. He was a little bit banged up last season. Probably, wasn't as productive as he would have wanted to be because of some injuries that he went through. But he's a really, really good guy, hard worker, but he's a really outstanding athlete. I mean, I think that's the best thing about him. He's a big body, can really move, likes to play football. As I said, I think his best football is in front of him. And the great thing about Brandon is he's played a lot of different positions. He can slide inside, can play outside at tackle as well. So I think he has a lot of versatility.
You mentioned of Brandon being an athlete. I've read a lot about his athleticism. Can you dive into that a little bit more of just how athletic he is as an offensive lineman?
Yeah, really good basketball player. I mean, it's funny. You get him on the basketball court, you can see, how good of an athlete he is. He runs around well. He's got good touch. I mean, he's just got the stuff that you don't normally see in 300-pound plus offensive linemen. He's just got that ability to be able to move and to adapt and to adjust as people are rushing the passer, or he gets on a track run blocking and he's got to get off his track. He's athletic enough to be able to do that. As I said, I think he's still developing. His best football is going to be in front of him, and I think Washington's going to end up getting a really good football player.
The versatility aspect is obviously very good to have in the NFL game, being able to go from guard to tackle. Washington kind of has a little void at left tackle. How do you see maybe Brandon fitting in the NFL level, and can he be that left tackle in the NFL?
Yeah, I do think he's athletic enough to do it. That's a very tough position to play in the NFL. I mean, there's a lot of pressure on those tackles, and they have to be really good athletes and be able to to block some of the best pass rushers in the world. And he's athletic enough to do it. And I think he's going to work hard on his technique and continue to develop. And I think he can develop into a solid tackle or play the guard position as well. So that's the great thing about him. You're getting a lot of position flexibility.
So Washington has a new offensive coordinator, very well, Cliff Kingsbury. He was actually the quarterback at Texas Tech when I believe you were the wide receivers coach at Texas Tech. He's probably going to run some form of the air raid offense. You obviously run the air raid offense at TCU. Seems like a natural transition for Brandon, right, from one offense to another offense.
Yeah, I think so. I think he's going to recognize a lot of the things that he's going to be asked to do at Washington, as things that he's done here at TCU. And so, I think that's the great thing about what Cliff is doing offensively. I mean, he's obviously taken a lot of those air raid concepts, grown the package, has a much more developed run game, than we used to have back in the day. So, Cliff's a really bright guy. I think he's one of the best play callers in football, and I think he'll do a tremendous job. And I think Brandon will be an asset for him. And again, I think that position flexibility is going to be one thing that's going to make him incredibly valuable.
With this new regime in Washington, they've really focused on kind of culture, bringing in winners, bringing in team captains. I look at Brandon. He was a team captain for you at TCU. Just kind of his makeup of the person. Let's take the athlete out, but the person, somebody that can lead men, somebody that can be a voice in that locker room.
Yeah, the great thing about Brandon is going to be very mature. He's going to take a very professional approach every day. He's going to be one of the first guys in the building, one of the last guys to leave. He's just got that kind of leadership. He's got a great personality, very outgoing. Players are going to be attracted to him. He's going to take on a position of leadership, I would imagine, pretty quickly once he gets established in the NFL. And, he's a guy that's going to be able to get along with everybody on the team. And he's somebody that they're not going to have to worry about, when he leaves the building. He's going to go home. He's going to take care of his business. He's going to be a good teammate, and that's going to help him be a productive football player.
Were you surprised at where he was drafted? Did you think Brandon could have gone higher? Where were you at kind of going into the draft?
Yeah. I think a little bit of that probably had to do with the fact that he was banged up some last year. I think had he stayed healthy, I think he probably would have gone quite a bit earlier. But, he just had some bad luck last year with some injuries and stuff that's not going to impact him at all, moving forward. But just some nagging type things that he just had a hard time getting over last season.
I'm sure you have a great relationship with Brandon, and obviously this is going to be a new chapter of his football career. What some of kind of wisdom or advice you've given Brandon as he takes this next step, because it all begins on Friday?
Yeah, the thing we talk a lot about was don't worry about where you're drafted and really where you go. I mean, you just have to. You don't have any control over that. He had a body of work in college, and now he's got to go do the same thing in the NFL and reprove himself. And that's going to begin on Friday, as you said, and it's going to be a day by day process. I mean, there's going to be some days that are rough, on young offensive linemen in the NFL. I mean, again, they're going against the best pass rushers in the world, some elite level athletes, and there's going to be a learning curve, and there's going to be some ups and downs. The thing he's got to do is just continue to show up every day, have a great work ethic. Don't get too high, don't get too low. Just be a professional and keep showing up and chipping away.
I know you're a fan of football. What do you kind of think of the reboot of Washington with Dan Quinn, now Cliff Kingsbury, OC, kind of a new regime? They got Jane Daniels as the quarterback. What do you think of kind of this new era in Washington?
You know what? I think you've got two really proven play callers. Obviously, Dan Quinn's been incredibly successful as a play caller in the NFL defensively, and then you got Cliff as well. And so, that's a great place to start. And then you always want to build around a quarterback, and they've got a heck of a quarterback, a young guy that has that kind of dual threat ability that can obviously throw the football, but also can maintain and keep plays alive and just make all the throws that you want a quarterback to make. So it's an exciting time, to be a Washington fan. I'm sure there's a lot of optimism around the program right now, and people are excited.
And you've obviously built a very successful program at TCU, played for the national championship. To see your guys, go on to fulfill a dream, playing in the NFL, like a Brandon Coleman, what is that like for you, being their coach, seeing them live out a dream, and what does that do for your program?
It's exciting. I mean, we had 9 players drafted, 2 years ago in the 23 draft class, and had 3 drafted this year. So we've got 12 guys and a number of free agents as well, that have gone on, and as you said, living out their dreams every day. And that's one of the most rewarding things about coaching college football is you get to see young men, come in, develop, grow from boys to men, and then you have a chance to see them, go on to the NFL and live out their dream. And not everybody gets an opportunity to do that. So, I'm excited for all the guys in this year's draft class. Was really excited to see the guys that we had drafted last year and the success they had at different organizations they went to. And so it's always fun to do that and incredibly rewarding.
Great insight, great perspective. Sonny Dykes, the head coach at TCU. Appreciate your time. We'll take good care of Brandon Coleman for you, okay?
Yeah, do that. Yeah, you're gonna like Brandon. You're gonna like what you get. I promise you.
All right, much more to come right here on Toyota Sports Talk. Stay with us.